Okay, light is just not a spiritual reality. It is, but it is a scientific reality whereby we are light. And scientifically, it is a beautiful thing to see because it gives us such an innate ability to know that our light in surrounding us in our auric fields and that which surrounds us within our subtle energy bodies and our chakras, that we are energy, that we are projecting out. Our auric fields can be color, but we are light. So I think a book that truly changed me is this book by Gloria Prema called It's All Light, because it is all light. And so I've taken a lot of different thoughts. As many of you know, I've integrated my spirituality with many different really incredible beliefs. I think that's possible. So I am not talking about any one belief when I'm talking about life. So let me read to you something that Paul Selig says in the book Resurrection. I highly recommend it. It is a channeled message, but it's some of the things he says in there are so powerful. He says this about light. What you are offering now in your incarnation, what I am agreeing to, is to come to light incarnate at a level of vibration where my encounters with the world are transformed by my nature of being, that I don't have to search and look and hustle for purpose, that at the very least, the nature of my being is emanating light, which therefore goes into the shadows and goes into any darkened areas absent of light, and I am light in that area, because I'm bringing that energy and that frequency and vibration to change things. Never underestimate the power and the strength of light within you, and you'll see by the end of this message. So he says, how you be at this level of vibration, how I am at this level of frequency in an encounter with the manifest world, that which I see every day in my 3D reality, is what alters the vibrational field of what I see and experience. If I am increased light through meditation, through surrender, through love energy, through listening to my heart, through balancing the chakras, through moving in a union within myself, knowing that I am one with God. When I enter those times of peace, even though life throws things at me that disturb me, then what I see and I experience as a light grows within me, I will alter my perception of the world. As I am light, I will see light, I will bring light, I will be in light, and my own reality will change, increasing synchronicities, increasing vibration to be who I'm called to be in this incarnation. Now, before I get started on all the beautiful things in light, I want to tell you that as I began studying this, because I love sacred geometry, and remember, the sacred geometry symbols, when you look into the symbol, into a higher dimension, they're going to show you a greater reality of Christ's consciousness and a greater reality of who you are. So when you study light, you begin to see a sacred geometry symbol called the Merkaba. Many of us know about it, many of us don't. Some have studied it in depth, but the Merkaba is a sacred geometry symbol that you see in the book of Ezekiel, as well as many other ancient wisdom writings. It is a chariot, it is a transport into higher dimensions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start you on light, then I'm going to do a whole lot of studying, and then do more on the Merkaba, because I'm going to start entering into some meditation regarding that. It is a fascinating study, and even the Star of David at a 2D dimension is also part of a flat line sacred geometry of the Merkaba. So let's get started. I say all that to say I'm going to start switching the Facebook up at different times because I'm going to start traveling a little bit. And so I would suggest you join my YouTube channel in case you miss it. I'll put a link on tomorrow. So now let's talk about light. So let me share this screen. Stay with me, okay? Let's share this screen. Hold on one second. There. We won't stay on this forever, but I want you to look at this screen because I talked about this last week and I'm going to stay on it just a little bit. This right here is the tree of life. This is the path of your ascension. This is the limitless nature of being one with God. And this is how you ascend. It is also a picture of your DNA. It is an ancient symbol used throughout eons. And we talked about it. Watch the last two videos of the Facebook Lives. But I want to talk today and elaborate on this path. It's called the path of the flaming sword. And the path of the flaming sword works its way from the bottom to the top as you ascend. Now you constantly ascend. In this life, you move in greater realms of light, greater realms of consciousness. So this is not the end all be all. When you encounter light in ascension, you're going to have to face some of the shadows in our lives and some of the healing that is needed to live in the center column of harmony and balance. We talked about that last week. So this flaming sword of physical life is when light flows on its way down from God, from source, whoever you believe this to be. It does not concern me that there is a divine mind. Physicists even believe there is this beautiful architect of all of creation, this divine mind of God. So as this light flows down from source, it is limitless. And how you increase your light is through meditation, silence, prayer, spiritual practices. But the light has to go through these spheres, because what the spheres are, as you are ascending, it is cleaning up your life. It is manifesting greater areas of love where there may be pain or trauma or a woundedness, where you are in need of healing. Those spheres act as registers, almost, we'll talk about it in a second, that make you aware, because light cannot come down straight through because it is so powerful that your body could not contain it. So that is why you have the physical reality of the knowledge of your divine humanness in your physical incarnation, but you are surrounded by these fields of energy that help you move in psychic ability above the realm of a 3D reality. That is the gifts of the spirit, that is psychic abilities, clairvoyance. And to do that, there is an increase in light. So this reality, I am light, it's a dual action. It's constantly ascending and descending. And it would be very good for you to listen to last week, because we did talk about healing that is needed. And I was pretty open. So light needs to be reduced before coming down into this physical reality right here. And it all goes through the heart, which is this right here. Everything goes through the heart, not so much the mind. The heart is more powerful than your brain. And what the mind conceives in a way, it is the heart that births through the connection to the quantum field. And the connection to the field, to source, to God, is greater light as greater healing occurs in your life. So light needs to be reduced in coming down into the physical reality. And it happens through the operation of these spheres, which we talked about on the tree of life. They act like mirrored lenses that filter and then ultimately deliver the light into the physical. If there's any blockage in the lenses or the spheres, we need to clean it up. It does not happen magically, it happens intentionally. And last week we talked about facing the polarities of life, the differences that we face every day that reside within us, the shadows that reside within us. So these mirrored lenses filter, and in our journey of ascension, it is the scientific fact that higher revelations and insight and realities of light are less dense. So light in this physical realm flows at 186,000 miles per second. It's a very small reality of the electromagnetic spectrum. There is a lot going on around us, if you believe in any type of angels or galactic beings that may be right around us that we cannot see because we are perceiving such a small reality. We hear such a small reality of what is really out there. That is why ascension is necessary. That is why Jesus said, you're in the world, but you're not of the world. Now, you can live down here your whole life, all your life, you could live down there and be a materialist or an atheist or whatever, and live only by what you see in the 3D world. But that is not life. That is existence. To ascend, you deal with yourself with intent, and you ascend in love. And when you ascend in love energy, there is a cohesion and a unity within yourself that flows out of yourself. So let me go on to this picture. I'm a visual learner. So I learn a lot just through watching pictures. So I create pictures for myself to learn. So I want to talk second when God said, let there be. Okay, this is a universal belief crossing many lines of belief systems. But in the Bible, in Genesis specifically, it says, let there be. That is the integration of sound and light to incarnate matter. That which was created comes from the integration of not only light. If light has nowhere to land, light will remain an energy with the possibility of manifestation, but will never manifest because it needs sound to manifest. And the sound of the divine Om, which way before any measure of Christianity believed this, was the primordial sound of God at creation, the divine mind, the beautiful quantum physicist of all physicists, the beautiful mathematician and scientist and creator and creative spoke, let there be, and the frequency of that formed subatomic particles. And those particles were spiraling light. When sound joined with those particles, it was as if it promoted a platform whereby everything was created. So this divine Om of God, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And you were there because there's no separation. If you believe in oneness and you believe that you're in time for such a time as this, you always were, you always have been, and you always will be, because your essence, the truth of who you are, is the I am. And the I am always was, always will be, and always has been. So the Om, that let there be, that sound that birthed creation, that's where you were at the birth of creation. That is that remembering of oneness. That is why that's why Joni Mitchell said, you are stardust, you are golden, because you were there. You are in that oneness in God. So that Om, that sound that has light flows down into creation, and it flows down into creation with us. That Om of God, that let there be, has a certain sound and a certain frequency that still resonates and vibrates within us to the degree that we increase in light. Let there be is always sounding within us. It doesn't stop. There is no end to the creation of our creativity, to the essence of who we are. We are just lower levels of light waiting to ascend. And when we get to a point where our time is done in this world, we will pass on in greater degrees of light. So this background, they also have found out that the background sound in space, that black holes actually emit a sound of 57 octaves below the middle C. If you want to scientifically look at that, you're going to look at the ether, or the vibrating allness of the universe, or the quantum field. It is always vibrating. It is always being held together. If you want to call it in Christ consciousness, it's being held together. And there are fields in which everything is being held together. I am being held together in this reality of my incarnation by the frequency of the speaking of God within me. You are being held together. And as I increase in light, I increase in so many ways. So when Source or God breathes out Om, when God breathes that out, the sound creates the subatomic particles, which are tiny vortices of energy, which arrange and structure themselves in accordance to the sound, or the law of resonance. When the planets were created, those resounded to the reality of God's creator's voice. When you were created, when you were set into time, you resonate with the frequency of a divine signature of which no one is like you. And you have to capture with intent that signature to be you and to be no one else, but to resonate. And we'll talk about auric fields in the future and what are chakras and all that, but we're going to go into it in a deeper way where it's built upon light. So you were starting out as tiny vortices of energy. That's why I think on Dr. Kay Fairchild's post that it's said that when you're born and you're in the womb, there is a flash of light. It is because you were born in that subatomic realm of what's called a divine sacred geometry of circle. And you divided and you divided and you divided and you grew in your incarnation. And make no mistake, you were born in Kairos time. There is a reason why you are here. Never, ever, ever forget that. It is not by accident. So in this realm, light itself is the very breath of source, which becomes matter due to the resonance of the sound created by the breath. Every sound has a resonance. God's sound has a resonance. God's sound joins with light, and there is creativity. Light and sound are the same thing to many scientists. Sound waves travel slower, but when sound waves are played many high octaves higher, it produces colored light. That is why your chakras. So the Mirror Bible says this. It says, I am the light. Whoever journeys with me shall not walk in darkness, but will radiate the light of life. That word radiate means to echo and resonate and resound. When you radiate light, you are radiating from the essence of the sound within you, the essence of the voice within you, the essence of the energy within you. You are radiating light and sound, and you echo forth the essence of who you are. And so then what happens is that these spiraling light waves through your sound affect and go through all the cosmos. I still believe that if you look at the Bible, when Peter and Cornelius, I believe, met together, and Peter had a trance on the rooftop, Cornelius was in a totally different city. They never met. They never ever met in the physical realm. They were entangled. Their oneness was in the quantum field. And because of the increased ability in Peter to rise above this third dimensional reality, to receive the trance, to receive symbols or words or dreams or visions, to receive an angelic message, you have to acknowledge your divinity. So he heard that and he went, and Cornelius and him were connected. That's clairvoyance, that's telekinesis, that is connecting at a higher realm of light, which we are capable of, which we should be doing. That is how synchronicities happen, where there are paths of light opened up before us to walk in it. So now I could go on with this forever because I love this topic, but let me just show you another picture. Light are spiraling wavelengths that travel in harmonic multitudes of the known speed of light. What does that mean? I'm a science nerd. I'm a math nerd. I'm finally accepting it in my life. So here you have the physical reality of Earth, okay? And what these are increasing levels of light, but they're increasing in harmony. Have you ever seen Russian nesting dolls? Those dolls that stack from the very small, and the big one goes on top, and the big one goes on top, and the big one goes on top, till you just have one doll, but inside the one doll, there are smaller and smaller realms of dolls, but they all have the same characteristics. So what this is saying is that you are emanating in a level of light in this physical realm, but because you are a fractal of God and all that is within God is in with you. Look at nature. Look at fractals. They're repeating patterns that you can go smaller and smaller and smaller, and you're still going to get the essence of the all. There is not one cell in your body. There is not one particle in your being that does not carry within it the full intent and beauty of God. So you are flowing in this reality as a fractal of God and in harmonic multitudes of light. So when you go above the physical realm, and scientists will say, you can't get in, well, you know, that they don't want to be metaphysical. They just want to look at everything. So many want to look at everything through a 3D perspective because God forbid they would acknowledge that consciousness plays a vital role and is the essence of the universe. I believe in consciousness. So as I increase in light, I increase in that harmonic ability to resonate with God. Shown by this. You're not at a lower level because you have the capacity and the latent ability in you to increase and in light through meditation and through various spiritual exercises. So these are harmonic multitudes, which means that I'll talk about it in the future. Let me blow your mind a little bit. String theory in physics is based upon sound, based upon the harmonic reality of God harmonizing the strings of the universe to produce a grand symphony. Because you are light and because you have a sound within you, you are bringing forth the very symphony, the cohesion, and the integration of God within you. Please don't tell me you're nothing. Don't tell me you don't know anything. Don't tell me you're not brilliant. Why would you deny the essence? You just haven't located it yet. You haven't found it. You haven't discovered it. So this fractal light, and let me show you this one. Light travels at the known speed of 186,000 miles per second. As light increases, consciousness increases. How do you think Peter was aware that Cornelius, needed something? Those are psychic abilities that increase in the realm of light outside of the dimension of time. If you're only going to move in the essence of time, you're going to only perceive a very small section of the electromagnetic spectrum. That's all you're capable of doing in your humanness. Seeing and not seeing, or hearing or not hearing. But when you increase in these abilities, you increase in light, and your consciousness expands in an evolution. So everything is formed from light and sound. There is one size fits into the next size, and so on, but all are contained within the whole, and all exhibit self-similarity. In octaves of sound, this increasing reality of the harmony of sound increasing as it goes up, because remember, we're in a dense environment in a physical realm with the capabilities of traversing the planets, of traversing our own inhibitions and intentions, of realizing that we are one in God and we are so far more than we can ever imagine. And you will need this in the days ahead, because as chaos abounds and as things fall apart even more rapidly than they are, as insanity increases, as people hunker down in fear, you, my friends, are going to be the key to the transformation of this evolving consciousness and this new world and this new birth that we are taking place, which I am firmly convinced of as I see the insanity around me. I will not live my life in that narrative, because why live at all? It's either give it all you got and give it all you got with every intention, denying the reality, but living in the knowledge that it exists. That is what we talked about a week ago, living in the harmony within yourself. Nothing shall stop you unless you let it. No one can take away your freedom and autonomy and your reality. No one, unless you let them. So who are you going to believe? That intuitive nature inside of you that is speaking as your true self? Or are you going to believe the narrative that is covering the earth with all kinds of catastrophe and death and wars? Get out of that realm real quick, or you will never live. That is why I posted on my page that there are still areas I want to travel to. I refuse, in the perfect love energy that is rising up within me, to bow to fear. So I am light and I am sound in my incarnation. Now let me stop this and come back to see you right now. Now, hold on one second. I hope you're still with me. Okay, so now let's talk about two more things about light. Light needs a place to land, okay? Light is in perpetual motion. If you were to look at the subatomic level of particles in your body, as Greg Braden points out, we are going in and out. The particles of our body are in constant motion. We are connected to the oneness of the field. And so we are constantly vibrating. And in reality, we are going in and out of existence, but yet we only have the reality that we are in this physical flesh. But at the quantum level, that's not possible to think that way, because you are energy and you are light. And when you pass on, you don't die, you just go into a different form. So why not experience some of that form now? Why not experience the immortality of who you are now? Why not experience the essence of your divinity now? What are you waiting for? Because you are in the world and not of the world. It's not always logical, doesn't win you a lot of friends and influence people that want to keep you trapped in a fear narrative. But hey, it's this life that you've been put into to live it the best that you can. And you are in perpetual motion. You are not called to be stagnant, but you are called to be intentional. And I'm speaking to myself here. So light itself has no rest energy. It's always vibrating. The scientific reality of light is that it always vibrates. It's in constant motion. And the 0-point field, the field that is the quantum field, that vast, what you call dark energy, dark matter, 99%, I believe, of the universe, it's always vibrating. It is always in movement. And subatomic particles are in constant motion. They are in constant motion in you. That when you manifest, even here, you are vibrating and learning to be intentional on vibrating to the reality of the sound that God has put in you. When he called you, let there be Deborah, let there be Tender Ann, let there be Sherry, let there be Pam, let there be Kay, let there be according to the frequency, because I am that I am. That is creative expression, and that is the exact thing that is trying to be stolen from you right now. Trying to be stolen by the lies and the corruptness of earthly governments that try to hunker you into wanting to be your savior. Honey, there's no savior coming. The savior is the rise in consciousness within you to help change this planet. And if I don't see it, I totally believe that when I pass on, I will still be moving in that realm of light and still influencing the evolution and the consciousness. That's not a new age thing, folks. That's reality of what's happening right now. And that reality, once you get it into your being, once you get it into your spirit, you will know that you were born in time for such a time as this. So mainstream scientists at present are trying to explain the mysteries of the universe using the existing physical laws and introducing more, listen, they introduce more and more complexities of those laws, but it never works because the simplicity of the universe manifests within your curiosity as a mystery. You're never going to get there because you're already there. You don't have to keep deconstructing. You don't have to be a victim. All you have to do is embrace the mystery that you're never going to know anything and follow the path of synchronicities that reveal itself to you in this journey called life, which will give you meaning and purpose and intention for such a time as this. So these scientists always want to lock down and want to discount the consciousness. Stay away from that. There are some incredible people out there doing videos, and science, science is you cannot have spirituality without science. It is impossible to have science without spirituality. Why is that? Because the divine mind of the universe has created incarnate and the ability to manifest creation from the essence of a higher realm. You cannot even understand spirituality without a scientific reality of consciousness unless you go to a church that tells you to sit, don't think, don't ask, don't question. That's death, my friends. That's death. So visible light, what we see, is in constant motion. That's why you're all light. You are all light. So expansion and contraction in Hindu philosophy is the in-breath and the out-breath of the cosmic creator. And the breath of source is light that is creating expansion in the universe and in you. So again, I want to reiterate, this is simple, but you have to just keep thinking. I've been thinking about light for 2 years now. And every time I think about it, it expands in me to a realm where I am breathless, and I am unable to totally comprehend the mystery. So I settle in what I know. And when I settle in what I know, I settle into the journey. And the journey of curiosity just moves me from one step to another. And I'm telling you, when Einstein said, never lose a holy curiosity, he meant it. If you lose your sense of adventure, if you hunker down, controlled, and you lose that sense of holy curiosity, you will lose your life and you will find yourself trapped. But when you open yourself up to curiosity and you learn things that challenge your belief system, thank God I did, challenge your belief, because Christianity is beautiful, but only when it's recognized through analogy in cohesion with many other belief systems. Christianity standing alone and exclusive is dogmatic and death. But when it is expanded in the beauty of many ancient traditions, the reality of what Jesus says opens up doors of wisdom that are uncanny and unbelievable. When the Bible is opened up to allegory and symbolism, and even when you look at the Merkaba and Ezekiel's vision, and when you look at the book of Revelation, it holds so much meaning. So as I've said hundreds of times, I don't discount. I just make sure I'm integrating it into the amalgamation of a lot of other belief systems to find truth. So light is a spiraling wave, and I'll end with this. It becomes a particle. I want to scientifically say it becomes a particle due to resonance, which is the continuous sounding. I want to stress again, a continuous sounding. So when light is a spiraling wave by the continuous sounding of the sound of God, the continuous let there be is holding you together in Christ, in the field. That is what's holding my life together. It is not the physical dimension that's holding my life together. That's why in the coming days, you're going to see so much more energy healing and sound healing, because we were not created to live according to what's being pushed out there right now. Sound healing, when you increase in vibration. So what is holding me together, who knows when I came in here as one and when I will leave as one, is the resounding essence of my cells being held together in sound and life. It's called morphic resonance. Morphic meaning form, resonance meaning sound. So everything in me is always vibrating, and I'm becoming more and more aware, and I am doing practices to intentionally become aware of what my field is saying. I'm doing exercises for myself on how to observe something beyond what I'm observing. I'm doing exercises on how I'm a sound person too. So I'm listening very carefully to maybe the sounds that are within the sounds. And I'm learning and I am growing and I'm taking risks and I'm challenging myself. And I simply am okay with that. I'm okay with not being understood, because I kind of like where I'm flowing. And I'm speaking to you today that if you're basing your identity based upon what people are saying about you or what life has thrown at you, you will stay in that realm. So trust me, I have really shitty days, okay? Just to let you know that I have to rise above my own self-sabotage, my own dualism to get back in line. And I always find it in the stillness, or I always find it in nature. So you are a particle wave. So now let me end with just a few statements of what Paul Selig says in the book Resurrection, and that's when we'll end. Paul Selig says, your own perception that you see will become, in a way, an assessment of your own vibrational tone. So that is where observation is creating the reality. If you're vibrating at a low reality of fear, you're going to create that reality, and you're going to hook into that vibrational field, which is low light, which is dense light at a low level of vibration. He also says the frequency you now hold is a level of pitch where when what it encounters, it claims and reclaims and resurrects. We are the resurrection. Jesus provided the path to reveal this to them, but I am the resurrection and the life. As I resurrect in that knowledge that I am one with God, as I resurrect, I come into a higher reality of consciousness here and now. I never arrive. I never stop being human because my humanity is grounded in my spirituality. So when I reach a level of vibration, I reclaim things, I remember things, I take back my purpose that has been lost through pain or trauma, and I resurrect into a newness of life. And I keep resurrecting, and I keep resurrecting, and I keep resurrecting into a newness of life and a freshness that brings peace that surpasses all understanding, no matter what's going on around you. Peace that surpasses. I've suffered. Have you suffered? Have you suffered with a lot of shit? Have you suffered? I mean, who's gonna, if we sat down and there'd be no comparison because everybody's suffering to some extent, and what you've gone through may not be what I've gone through, but the reality is that as long as we are in this human incarnation, we are suffering and we are bringing into the harmony of our life to birth something incredible from it, not avoid it. So the radiance of your vibrational field will be felt by you once you become aware of your intention of who you are in this humanity. It will be felt by you, and you will walk it out. You will speak it out, and you will embody it at the level of vibration to which you've been called. This, I hope, will change your life because it's changed mine. And this is why I'm speaking it. I'm kind of going in line with who I am. And I've never been happier or at more peace while still trying to see what's coming so that I step in line with the frequency with which God has put in me. And I am not flustered, or I am not distracted. So I am purifying my focus. I'm purifying my hearing. I am increasing in light, and in the process, some relationships have gone, some things I've trusted in have been pulled out. I find myself in a place where there are not a lot of familiarities anymore. I'm having to create a new path, as I think some of you are. If things have been pulled from you, if you're still trying to hold on to things that hold no purpose anymore, you're going to get them, and you're going to stay at a low level. But when you release, and I'll end with this, when I released everything, I felt myself in a very unfamiliar but familiar place. The familiar place was not exactly the unknown. It was just the unseen and the unheard, because the place that I find myself now, I'm not quite sure how I'm navigating going forward. That's why every week I'm just doing these, and I'm progressing along a path of life that has been destined for me. It is unknown by me, but it is known by my true self. It's almost like there's one me, but I'm uniting with the you that's waiting for me to catch up with it. So even though I am not divided, there's only one self, there's only one. There is a part of me that's been hidden so long that true self is calling, come this way. And that's what it's saying to you. It may not be logical, it may not make sense, but you know that it may appear to be unknown, but you know that it is known by you in the deepest part of your being. And your only question now is, where's it going to take me? And that's exactly where I am. So I truly love you guys. I thank you for all the people that write me and encourage me. And so I applaud you for being alive at such a time as this. Be courageous, be brave, and be brilliant. And thank you so much for watching. Share this. I hope this has touched you. I will look later at the comments. It's a little more difficult on Zoom, but I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a glorious weekend. And thanks for being with me during this time today.